So, well, we're going to end up cutting this part out. We got the wide angle lens on now, and because the wide angle lens is on, I zoomed it in, which if I zoomed it out, she'd have been in the picture. But I zoomed it in because we only wanted so much, because we are playing with this screen behind us now.
Yep.
We found another toy on one of our programs we didn't know had there, so we're playing with that one. But now we'll get back to cut this part out. We'll go to, this is Oldecam.
And this is not a spring chicken. Today we're going to be talking about,
well, something actually that we are inadvertently involved in, because my family are American Indians. I mean, I may have blonde hair and sort of green eyes and white skin, but my great grandmother on my father's side, and my mother on my mother are American Indians folks.
And I look Asian, and
well, she is Asian, except for those freckles that she's got, which sort of, they're trying hard to explain where those freckles came from. But like my father would say, there was a fox in the hen house at one time or another. No, but we have a president of the United States that just basically signed off punishment of the United States for its problems with human rights violation and the history of our nation.
And the challenge with that is we really think he's trying to start a race war, because every time we turn around it's like, oh, you're anti-this, it's because I'm black, it's because you're racist,
And we've been told by people that probably have some good idea that, you listen, they're all talking now, they're getting more open about the fact that Hillary Clinton is going to switch positions with Joe Biden, because Joe Biden is actually a better, he's basically a foreign policy expert. And even if he's senile, he'll be dealing with senile people in other countries. And so, and then Hillary, they want Hillary to move over to vice president. And why would Hillary move over to vice president? For two reasons.
Why? She'd be the first one.
The first woman vice president ever.
She'd also be in position to be the president.
That's right. And Obama is...
We've actually... Pelosi.
Yeah, no, Pelosi...
Does Pelosi want to be president?
Pelosi knows she's going to lose her job as Speaker of the House. If she loses her job as Speaker of the House, she's going to be bounced out of office next term. But the President is expected to use the grounds, I have to leave the office of the presidency for the protection of my children, because America is such a racist nation that they will not allow a black man to succeed in this nation.
And part of it is because we keep hearing this over and over again. It's not only us that sees that there's more racial tension.
We're told that we have to shut up. Don't say that in public. Well, I got this little Indian mommy and this little Indian grandmother, and then she's Asian. If we can't talk about race relations, and we're minority members, I've listed on the American Census as an American Indian, folks.
Well, part of it is there's a lot of people that came to this country because we are a melting pot.
We're the biggest in the world.
But here's part of it is what we're watching and what they're doing with the United Nations is what, for all the bad things the United States has done, as far as bringing slaves into this country.
Oh yeah, he apologized this morning for slavery, and that feels that that remuneration must be done. We must be punished for our crimes against humanity.
And see, part of it is when you, first of all, I think it's pretty unprecedented for the President of the United States or any president of a country to go to the UN and sit there and talk about their country like that. I mean,
they said
crazy.
They basically last night released tapes showing that he had made he's been making racist statements for years. And they've all been buried. I mean, like most of the people said, well, they can understand the people on the left bury him, but how in the world did the people on the right not know he was doing it?
And I understand why he's pulled that race card, and he's done it quite effectively to help himself get elected.
Yeah, because, okay, McCain wouldn't go after him. Hillary Clinton wouldn't go after him. Nobody would go after him. They basically let him get away with murder because he was a minority member. And still, we have to rally around to protect this president, because the racist that would destroy him, the racist that would destroy our country by showing us to be racist on the mosque being built, will destroy this great man if they're given an opportunity. So we have to rally to protect this president. I heard a person in there, a black woman, called the President of the United States a half-ass moron.
She didn't mention his race, did she?
No.
Right.
But, you know, with a black person can be racist like you cannot believe. They can say the N-word, they can do anything they want to.
But see, they can say it to each other or about each other, but if you say it and you're not...
Well, no, they can call white people honkies, they can call us anything they want to. They're not accused of doing anything. We have a Justice Department that has told the Civil Rights Division to drop dead.
And see, part of it is they literally are getting away, shall we say getting away with murder.
Yeah.
But part of it is we're seeing all these anti-racial tendencies that might have been there before, but they're brewing, because what happens is, in a race war, if it gets heated up, it's not just against black Americans or Afro-Americans.
Well, it's got to be against the Latinos. Basically, what's going to happen, you're going to have the Latins against the Koreans against the blacks against the Latins and the Koreans and the other Asians, the Jews against the Muslims. I mean it's going to be, and the Indians are going to be, they're not the Indians, but the Indians from India and Pakistan, they're going to be thrown in the mix. And it's not going to make any difference. I mean, I get a free pass because I do have blonde hair, I have light skin, and I have green-colored eyes. I get a free pass.
So you look the part.
I look the part. I'm just like, they don't pay any attention to me if I go to Germany because I got a German last name and I look Teutonic. But I'm not, you know. They go there with my mother or my grandmother or my great-grandmother or my grandfather. You say, where the hell did those people come from? Yeah. Well, you can go through, but we're going to have to check on them. That's how racist they are in other countries. I mean, we went to England to visit a piece of family property, and, well, you can't possibly, I said to my mother, you can't possibly be the lady of the manor. And then they said, oh, that's the one we want to talk to. He is the one that really owns the place. You know, you know, they just bypassed my mother and right to me, just like that. You know, and the French basically don't like minorities. French are basically throwing out gypsies, you know, because they don't like them. We're the only country in the world that allow minorities to basically get away with things. Nobody else does, but that's getting ready to come to an end. They said this president needs a race war in order to keep power.
Yeah, but see, there's a lot of casualties that will happen because of it. Of course, there's a lot of casualties happening every day because of everything.
They said that, okay, this is, one of the people said, this is what you could call, Obama has really two great achievements in his presidency. One, that he has basically saved the Republican Party from destruction.
Oh.
They were on the way out. Now the Republican Party is on the verge of the biggest victory in history. And
if they can pull it together.
And he is the most racist president in our nation's history. And God, we've had a god-awful lot of racist presidents. And to say that the first minority president is the most racist president, isn't that abuse?
Because if he was like that, he was not any. If he was anything other than the color he was, then he rarely would have been hearing it.
No, but I mean, what bothers...
And actually, he should be.
They said that what bothers the people on the left was he had a free pass.
I know.
He could have done anything he wanted to do. He had the Republicans on the run. The Republicans, basically, if he'd have just done things incrementally, even Raul Emanuel said if you had done it incrementally, you could have got everything you wanted. Everything across the board. Because he had in his pocket two Republican women all the time.
He still does.
He still does. He only needed a couple of more Republicans. Like Lindsey Graham was willing to go along with him on cap and tax. Brown was willing to go along with him on some of the things. So he basically, if he had just simply did things, he had 4 years of incrementally doing everything. But that was taking too long for him. So he decided to do everything between, you know, in 1 year to get it all done, and he's basically going to do it. I mean, he's releasing, the memo is, don't arrest illegals anymore and let the ones that are in the jail cells out, because we can better use the state resources are strained, so let them, this way they don't have to strain their resources. They can handle the job, just criminals. Of course, we have a baby with a dishwater problem. They're going to allow the people that should be in the jail cells in Mexico out. Because of the fact that they're, you know, these things happen and we're going to go after these people on one case at a time. They already got them in jail.
I know, so why do you release it? It's like a catch and release program.
No, it's not even a catch and release.
Oh, actually, they're
now.
caught and they're released. Now, later
Now
on,
it's
they're not even going to catch
Not even
them.
going to catch them because
See,
those
part of it is they just ignore them. So people, if they're committing a crime, just tell them, pretend you speak Spanish.
Yeah.
You're illegal, right? Maybe you get away with it.
I know.
I know that sounds really bad,
But the tip
we're in
off,
LA.
the tip off that this president was going to do things in a racist manner is when he pulls out a bill and said, the reason why the people of this nation don't like me is because I don't look like anyone that's on a bill. Well, unfortunately, he's never going to look like anyone that's on a bill because I'll lay you that there'll never be another minority president elected in the history of this nation.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. He could have been the greatest.
Could have been great.
He could have been up there with Abraham Lincoln because all he had to do, but you see, Obama has a chip on his shoulder, plus he's a socialist.
Well.
And they said, well, how do you know he's a socialist? Well, because all the left wing of the Democratic Party are socialists.
And all you have to do is take a look at what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, they have no, okay, we're not destroying small businesses, we're doing these regulations to help small businesses. Not if you, one food company has been in existence for 75 years. They don't provide health insurance to their company, and the Obama people said, well, they should be glad that we're now going to have, their employees are now going to have health insurance, well, they're all part-time workers. And they're 55% of their gross income is going to have to go to pay for insurance for its employees, which basically effectively puts the company out of business.
That's unfortunate.
And
they're not going to be the only companies doing that.
No, but who are going to be the first people fired when they start firing people to pay for Obama's expenditures? Minority members. You already have black parents upset by the fact you have black businessmen that say, I started out working in a McDonald's, or I started working out in a Sambo's, which is basically they quit because it was.
They used to have Sambo's.
They know, but it was an unpolitically correct name. Well, actually now they're big boys. They basically merged.
Oh.
But they said, my children don't have a place to get any job because the people that are here illegally have all the jobs because they'll accept less money. And then they'll say, well, we've got to crack down on the employers that are doing this. Employer crackdowns are down under Obama.
Well, you know, part of it is it's like, I could personally, it's like do away with some of these people that can't even count. Like when you go and order some food and they cannot count to 8.
No, we won't tell you the restaurant, but actually we had a young black college student, because his books were there, a really go-getter. I mean, really go-getter.
Very nice, smart.
I mean, this kid basically
on top of things.
I'd have been proud if he was white because he is so. I mean, this guy
is friendly.
He's friendly. He's making certain all the customers. This is customer relations done by a guy that is going places in the company.
Yeah, and you can tell.
And he goes back there and he said, it's bad enough that you people can't speak English, but you can't count either. He said, there's 5. They ordered 8. There are 6. They ordered 8. Okay, people, there are now 7. Can we get one more to make 8? And he shows 8, and then he goes 1, 2,
Wait,
3.
How many did you put up for 8?
But this is what we got.
Oh, we did get 9.
We got 9. He gave us an extra one because
he can count to 8.
He gave us 9 because of what they did. They made us sit there and wait because it's on the thing. You know, they got a screen in front of them that says 8. They can't read the 8. He had to tell them what they're supposed to do. And we'll tell you, we went into places that are Latino owned, that have a sign on the wall. We won't tell you, it's a place that we go to between here and Las Vegas on the way that we stop off. Because they'll bring the food out to you on the tables, which is nice. And they'll give you bigger stuff than they got too. They'll supersize you a lot of times. If there's somebody screws up, but they got a sign that says,